Hello everybody, it's Stephen here for the Idiot Quilter, and welcome to my weekly episode for Tuesday, September the 26th, 2023, episode number 234. And so let's jump right into what I've been working on, shall we? And here it is. This is Stephanie Stitch's pattern called Bloom and Grow. I have it all done. I did it with the fabrics Walter bought me 2 Christmases ago called Pour by Benartex. I love this fabric. He bought me a box of 80 fat quarters, so I had the whole line. And I've been waiting for a pattern that I feel worthy of these fabrics, and this is it. Now, it isn't a huge quilt, but the beauty of this particular pattern is you can make it as big as you want. I stuck to the size Stephanie had in her instructions, which is just fine for me. This will make a nice gift, maybe. I don't know what I'm going to do with it. Of course, it has to be quilted yet, and it hasn't been quilted yet. As you can see, this is just the top. But I know some people have extended it to make it into a queen size by adding a couple of rows on there. Very easy to do, to make it any size that you want. I think it would also make a really cool table runner as well if you just did 1 row of 3 with the cornerstones and the whole bit border. I think that would be really, really nice. Just had an idea. Yep. Get some of my best ideas when I'm talking to you. So that's one project ready for quilting. I've got 3 quilt tops sitting on Lucey waiting to be quilted. I got to get to the Regal Trees one, which is my Christmas quilt, the shirt scraps quilt, and of course now this one. So I'm getting a little bit behind here. Need to catch up. Okay, but I did manage to completely finish the quilting on this Halloween quilt, Cats and Bats. And I already pointed out to you a couple of little problems that I had with that pattern. Some of the measurements were not quite right, and it doesn't help when you leave out a piece here. And people found this, if you look at this corner over here, or this middle piece here, and you notice there's a piece, it's a little further away than this one is from this one, and it should be like this. So I left out a strip. But I don't know how I did that because it worked. It worked out measurement-wise. So weird. Anyways, that's just one of the haunting qualities, I guess, of this particular quilt. I'll show you the back. And I used a fairly, this sort of gradient kind of thing that I had in my stash. The purples. I always think, when I think of purple, I think of Halloween for some reason, so I thought it was appropriate. And you can see this, the quilting on the back of it, because I used a light colored thread. I think I used a white. However, 2 things I want you to note on here. I shouldn't really point these out. And I didn't really mean to point these out. It's just when I took the picture closer up, I went right to the spot where there's a problem. First of all, you'll see this rough part. That's an imperfection in the quilt fabric, which I never noticed before. However, this is really up close. From a distance like here, can you find it? No, not really. Maybe you can if you study this long enough. It's not a contest, people. Don't be sending me comments saying, I found it, it's right over there. Yeah, okay, I'm pointing it out to you now. But that doesn't really bother me. But this does. See my quilting right here? This got chopped off. Now, it was my fault. I got distracted, squirrel kind of a thing, while I was setting Lucey up for this particular zone, and I forgot to hit the placement button. So I didn't get it in exactly the spot it should have been, and it shortened the zone a little bit, not by much, but these bottom parts did not get finished off, so they should have gone down into here, you see. But again, can you spot it? I can't spot it. And yeah, again, not a contest here. Okay. So yeah, but I'm very pleased with the overall effect of it. So I'm going to hang it somewhere or put it somewhere when I start doing my fall and Halloween decorating of the house, which will be what, in about another week? Because October the 1st is what? This coming Sunday? Have some coffee. So yeah. Now, the next thing I've been working on are these. These are just mug rugs. I used Tulip Pink on a couple of them because I've got a big pile of Tula Pink fat quarters that I'm not sure what to do with. And quite frankly, and some of you will think this is sacrilege, but they work really well in projects like this. In fact, in my opinion, I know I'm going to get comments about this. In my opinion, Tula Pink is best suited for smaller projects like a very stylized wall hanging, mug rugs, pillows, bags, that kind of thing. As far as making a whole quilt out of them, I think it's a little much myself, but that's just my opinion. I'm sure there are many of you out there that consider what I'm saying blasphemy. But anyways, I made these. These are going to as gifts to people for some things that they are doing for me very soon. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Do I have any more? No, I don't have any more pictures to show you there. Okay, so let's talk about what's happening, what's coming up, what's going on. Wednesday, Sewing with Stephanie and Stephen, as usual, starting at 9 a.m. Eastern Time and running through until about 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All are welcome. Come and go as you please. Links in the show notes. It's a Zoom. I made some purchases, come to think of it. And this was, oftentimes on Sewing with Stephanie and Stephen, we have some enablers in there. They show me something or show the rest of us something that they just got or are thinking of getting. And we all go, ooh, I want that. That's so pretty. So, yeah. Someone told me there was a sale on backing fabric at Missouri Star Quilt, $39 for 108-inch by 3-yard cuts, $39 American. I worked that out into Canadian dollars, and with the shipping and the taxes, it was still considerably less than what I pay here. So I bought 4 bundles of it. So I bought 12 yards of fabric, wide back, 108-inch, for about, in Canadian dollars, it worked out to about $260 with the shipping, with the tax. And the best part is it's coming today. I ordered it on Wednesday last week, and it's coming today, Monday. And I have to say, I've got to start considering Missouri Star Quilt a place for me to go to purchase things. I mean, I know Missouri Star Quilt is good, okay? But we have this big wall between Canada and the United States, this imaginary barrier that getting anything across in a good, timely way, and so it doesn't break your bank, is not always easy. But Missouri Star Quilt, with whatever they have done, whatever deal they have in their shipping with FedEx, have made it much, much better. So yeah, so when I get those, I'll probably show them to you next week on the Idiot Quilter. And I also bought, and I just bought this from Amazon, Invisifill. If you watch So Chatty on Friday, you know that I talked about Invisifill. I like to use the lightest color Invisifill when I'm binding my quilts. It's a finer thread. It's almost transparent. It's not like that stuff that's more like nylon fishing line, which is impossible to sew with. And the reason I said that I like Invisifill for that is because if I get a little crooked or whatever, you really don't notice it because it just sort of blends right into whatever color fabric you are using in your quilt or on your backing of your quilt, because I put it in my bobbin as well. So I decided to get a few more colors of it just to see, just to try out. And so I bought a package of, I think, 4 or 5 colors on Amazon for, I don't think it was that much. I think it was about $30, something like that, which isn't too bad. They're not huge spools, but I don't need a lot of it. So yeah, I'm expecting that tomorrow actually to arrive. Or no, when you see this, I recorded this. Secrets out. I recorded this the day before you saw it. So it's supposedly going to come on today when you see this. So we'll see. Now, some updates on retreats. Let me have some more coffee. I just got back from the doctor getting my second shingles shot. So yeah. We'll see how this works out. So, retreat updates. I have 2 spots left. Yeah. However, do not despair. If you snoozed and you're losing, you know, I always say, if you snooze, you lose. If you were sitting on the fence wondering whether you were going to this or not, well, your mind is probably already made up and it wasn't your decision. It was decision by the circumstances. I've had an overwhelming response to the retreat. I originally opened it up to the alumni, the people who had been at the spring retreat, and I opened that up early, as you know, and then I was opening it up to the general public on October the 1st. Well, I rescinded that. I was up to about 53 people from the alumni already, and I was afraid that there wouldn't be much opportunity then for people, especially new subscribers to my channel who have never been to one of my retreats before, that they might not get a chance to get onto the retreat list. And I didn't want them to think this was some kind of an elitist thing or whatever. So it is wide open now, and I made an announcement about that on Friday, last Friday. And since I've made that announcement, I'm at 91. I can handle 93. Okay? But as I'm making this, I have 2 spots open, as I said. However, if you want to go to the retreat, don't let it deter you if you think you're not going to get a spot. I will put you on the waiting list. Once those other 2 spots are filled up, I will start a waiting list. The waiting list will go in order of the dates of the emails when I receive them. And there will be people who will cancel because life happens, right? And I know that. And as long as they let me know, as soon as they know, then I'll open up that spot. I will take the first person off my waiting list. I will plug them into that spot, and I will send them an email saying, okay, someone dropped out. You're in. Do you want the spot? And I'll give them a timeline, like you've got like 12 hours to let me know for sure that you want that spot. Otherwise, I will open it back up and put the next person on the waiting list for that. So yeah, there is a good chance that if you miss out right now, that if you get on the waiting list early, that you may get a spot for it. Okay, no guarantees, but I know from past experience that there's always a few people who leave, that drop out because something happens that they weren't expecting or whatever, and that's fine. Just know that I need to know if you're dropping out, right? You don't want to be on my blacklist. You okay? More coffee. My mouth's really dry today. You probably didn't need to know that. Okay, so things are going well with that. Those of you that are registered got a confirmation email about that with the links for both the retreat and for the night before icebreaker cocktail party as well. Now, just while I'm talking about the icebreaker cocktail party, I often get questions, can my significant other or a friend that I have that's visiting me that night, can they join in too? Of course they can. You can have everybody in your household join in if you wish. You can have your cat, the dog. I love to see your kitties and your pets. Too, that's not a problem. However, it's also not a problem on the retreat day if you have a friend that's come over and you're going to share the one spot, the one computer. I don't have a problem with that either. The only thing is your friend is not registered and can't get registered, so they're not eligible for one of the prizes in the prize draws. But I mean, if you've got Gladys from next door coming over, she wants to do some sewing with you that day, and you're on the Zoom for the retreat, yeah, sure, Gladys can be there. Not a problem at all. And some people want to know if it's appropriate or not to bring their spouse to the icebreaker cocktail party who may not be a quilter. That's okay too. That's perfectly all right. The more the merrier. The only thing is it's not open to the general public, meaning that unless you are registered, you can't come to the cocktail party. Sorry about that. Okay, if you have any questions about the retreat or anything else that I've been talking about when it comes to the retreat, then please just email me. I'll be more than happy to send you back a reply. Okay. Oh, and you will be once you're registered, once things settle down here, there will be an agenda for the day. It will list my guest speakers and their topics they're talking about and all that good stuff. And you will get that sent to you via your email address. Please, people, I've had a couple of problems with this. I asked you to give me your first and last name, your real first and last name. Okay, that's for security reasons, okay? We just don't want anybody trashing our party. And the email address you prefer to be contacted at. Now, I've already had a couple of people who have contacted me and they used an alternative email address. I don't know who you are. I had to do some second guessing. Don't do that, please, to me. I am trying to organize over 90 people. I'm trying to keep everybody on the same page. I'm trying to make sure that nobody misses out on anything that I send out about the retreat, okay? If you're flip-flopping between emails for one reason or another, well, you may not get the information because I am not, at this point in time, going to acknowledge any other email address except the one that you registered with. If something comes to me in a different email, I'm going to ignore it. I'm sorry. It's the only way I can keep everything straight. I hope you understand that. Okay? All right. So that's all about the retreat. So let's go on to a demo. All right. I did a few weeks ago showing you how I put a quilt, how I based a quilt on Lucey. So now I thought I'd show you how I advance a quilt on Lucey, because I've had a few people ask me this. How do you move to the next spot, and how do you know that you've got your pattern in the right spot? And usually I do know, except I just showed you the Halloween quilt where I made that mistake. That was a placement mistake. So I've made a video showing you how I advance Lucey from one row to the next row. So I'm quilting my Halloween quilt on Lucey right now, and I have finished the first zone, which is 2 rows of this spider web like pattern that you see on my screen. So I thought I'd show you how I advance the quilt to start the next set of rows, and so that they're equally spaced. And the computer on this machine will help me do this. So here's what I've got to do. It's asking me a question right now. Just completed the rows, and I have pulled up and clipped my bobbin thread. So I'm just going to say yes on here. And then what the machine is going to do, it's going to physically move to a spot on the quilt, which will be the place that I will mark, and then move my quilt up to the next zone. So how do I mark it? Well, I take a piece of painter's tape and I just slide it underneath the needle, just like that. I'm doing this with one hand, it's a little awkward. And then on my screen, I'm going to mark it with a single stitch. And because I haven't pulled up my bobbin thread, it's not actually going to make a stitch. It's just basically punching a hole in that tape. Now that it's done, I can say continue, and it comes up with this. Are you sure all the zone markers have been properly placed? Touch no if you wish to return to marking zones. Well, I have. That was what I did with this tape. It's marked. So now I'm going to move the needle up to the next position. So I'll just say yes. And it says the machine will now move to where the fabric marker for the next zone should be positioned. So we hit OK. And then the needle head is going to move. Okay, so now this is at the top of my quilt, but of course, I've only done the first 2 rows. That's why it's at the very top of the quilt. It will not be at the very top with each additional move afterwards. But right now, it says move the fabric so that the marker 2A is beneath the sewing machine needle. This does not have to be precise, but try to get it as close as possible. Okay, so what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to take my clamps off, and they're on both ends. And then I'm just going to release my roller, and I'm going to step on my pedal and wind the quilt. And what I'm doing is I'm putting the painter's tape underneath the needle right now. So this is advancing the quilt. And I try to get it as close to that center mark as I possibly could. Now I'm going to tighten up my quilt, and I'm doing this with the wrong hand. Bear with me. Hope I don't drop my phone. Okay, put my clamp on. There we go. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to straighten out my quilt. Make sure there's no bumps or bulges in it, in the batting or in the quilt top itself. Again, very awkward to do at this point because I'm holding a camera. And now I hit the OK button, And it says, have you moved the fabric? Yes, I have. Touch OK after the fabric marker has been positioned under the needle. So now what it's going to do is allow me to place the pattern. And all I need to do for this is basically, and it says place the pattern for sewing, I just hit this. And that's going to lock in that position. Now, it says I'm out of the safe area for some reason. So I'm not worried about that. My safe area was set at the very beginning of this and everything was fine. So I'm not going to move this around at all because it's in the right position. It's just a safeguard feature. Okay, so now my needle has been released and all I need to do is baste down both sides of the quilt, and then I'll hit sew and the needle will position itself for the beginning part of this. I'll pull up my bobbin thread. You see a little green dot up here? That's where the head will move to after I've basted it. And then I just carry on from there. Now I usually save the zones with each one in case I need to go back to a zone. I can do that. So that's all there is to advancing a quilt on a long arm. Okay, so that takes us to Subscribers Quilt of the Week, and this comes from Heidi Morell, who's down in the East Coast in New Brunswick. I had the pleasure of meeting up for a drink with Heidi when we were at the East Coast for the Canadian National Quilt Show. And so here's her beautiful creation. This week's quilt from a subscriber and a friend is Heidi Morell. And Heidi sends this picture of her beautiful crib quilt, and she says, I've attached a photo of the crib quilt that I worked on over several of your pop-up sew days and regular sewing Zooms with Stephanie. It's made entirely with scraps for the top and hand quilted. Well, I would have liked to have seen a picture of the entire quilt, but I think Heidi is most happy with her hand quilting, so that's what she has sent us a picture of. And take a look at this. That is beautiful, beautiful work, and it must take Heidi some time to do it. I'm really envious of people who can do hand quilting because, you know, for me, it's just bloodletting. I do not do it. But this looks absolutely gorgeous. The work is very fine, very detailed, and I think enhances your quilt very nicely. So thank you, Heidi, for sharing this picture of your beautiful creation with us. So the YouTube channel of the week is called the Copy Cat Quilter, and you will find that I have done an interview with the Copy Cat Quilter as well. So I thought this would be a good time to talk a little bit more about her YouTube channel. So here's my review of that. This week's YouTube video channel is one that goes along with the interview I conducted this week with Ginger from the Copy Cat Quilter. And Ginger has quite a few videos and tutorials and very interesting productions here that I'm sure you'll want to check out. If we take a look at her playlists, she has her videos organized by several different topics, quilt panel palooza, and I'm sure that using quilt panels is something that all of us struggle with. So Ginger does take some of the mystery out of that. She has some videos on foundation paper piecing and quilting tips, potato chip block quilt, quilty math. So, you know, that's another thing that really boggles some of our minds as well. And triangles in a square, and some other videos about quilts that she has made as well. So she has about 26 videos right now, and I think she's relatively new to the scene of making YouTube videos. So I hope after you've watched the interview with Ginger and that you'll check out her YouTube channel as well and give her your support, because I think she is definitely worthy of it. So that's the Copy Cat Quilter. Future projects. Okay, this one's called Forest Dwellers Quilted Table Runner. It is a Christmassy quilt, although using different fabrics, you could make it for almost any season. And you know, it's probably featuring gnomes. This week's future project is one that I've actually just got started. At least I have the pieces cut out for it. And of course, it features gnomes, so you know I couldn't resist it. It's called the Forest Dwellers Quilted Table Runner by Block Party Quilt Company. However, on their website, they call it Gnome Quilted Table Runner Pattern. You can buy it as a pattern or you can buy it as a kit. I bought the pattern because obviously it's coming from the United States, so that would cost me a lot more money from that. But this is a PDF pattern, so it was easy to pay for it and download it. And you can see it's very inexpensive, $8.25 American, which works out to maybe about $11 Canadian, $12 Canadian. Here's some pictures of it, though. It looks like it's fairly easy. And as I said, I've already started to cut it out. There is a paper template for cutting out these triangles, which is very, very easy, and you need 2-inch circles as well. I used my AccuQuilt to cut those for their nose, and the tree trunks too. All the rest of the pieces are very, very easy to cut out from this. So as I said, I have it all cut out, ready to go. I just need to start sewing it, and I think it's going to be really cute when it's done. And this might also be a Christmas gift for somebody. I don't know. We shall see. So as I mentioned earlier when I talked about the Copy Cat Quilter YouTube channel, that I did an interview with her. Her name is Ginger. Lovely lady. We had a really nice conversation. And of course, I have posted that now on my YouTube channel, so you can catch that. There's a link for it in the show notes below. But here's a little teaser of that interview for you. Would you say you tend to lean more towards traditional or more towards modern or experimental or freeform? How would you characterize that?
I like it all. I read a book one time about careers that called people scuba divers or snorkelers. And it said, scuba divers were the ones that were well trained and focused on one area. And, it's very technical and they saw little, like almost like tunnel vision. And then snorkelers kind of float around on the top and look at the pretty fish. So I'm definitely that. I've done some modern things. I tend to lean probably more towards traditional patchwork because I love piecing, but I never make a quilt as somebody else's pattern. I don't have the attention span to do that. And I have no desire to recreate someone else's quilt. And I know there are people that do that. And, so everything I make is kind of an experiment, but a lot of my pieces do turn out very traditional piecing, as far as half square triangles and things like that and points that match. And then now and then I do something like this, just like, there's not a point on there. And if it's not big enough, you throw another strip on the side. So I do enjoy that too.
So that takes me to online fabric stores, quilt stores. And this one is a store that you heard me talk about a couple of weeks ago when we went off to Stratford in the Cambridge area. And I dropped that big load of money on all kinds of fabrics. Well, one of the places I dropped some of that money was at Dancing Stitches. And you saw in that video, I had shots of the store itself, insides. It's a nice little store. Susie and Paige, the owners of the store, are just lovely human beings. Just love them a lot. So I thought I should take a look at what they have online as well, because you might not be able to get to the actual store because it's way too far from your area, but you can always get there virtually. So here's my review of Dancing Stitches. This week's online quilt store is one that I have actually visited, and you've heard me talk a great deal about it, called Dancing Stitches, which is located in Cambridge, Ontario. It is an excellent brick and mortar store, and the owner and her daughter, who co-manages the store with her, are both very, very lovely people, and we had a really enjoyable time when we visited the store. So I thought I should also take a look at what they have to offer online as well. So this is their home page for Dancing Stitches, and they list classes and workshops, sewing machines. I know they sell Bernina's machines, sewing supplies, fabrics, machine repair and services, and long arm quilting. So they have it all. And there is a map for how to get there, and it's very easy to get to from the 401 highway when you hit Cambridge. And their address is there and their hours as well. So let's check out their fabric. Okay, here we go. So we have it listed. We have a left-hand column here, which is always nice, an index. And if we look at it quickly, they have over 2,000 fabrics listed. New arrivals, sale fabric, designer collections, novelty prints, batik splendor, solids, licensed fabrics, kids prints, sports theme, pre-cuts panels, flannel, wide backing, knits, linens, quilt kits, seasonal, holiday, and cork. So they do have garment sewing fabrics as well as quilting cotton. And I know that they offer classes in both quilting and in garment sewing as well. So let's take, first of all, a look at their designer collections and see what we have to choose from here. Of course, they have Tula Pink and Tim Holtz, Kay Fassett, William Morris, Anne Marie, Lorraine Turner. They've got a really good selection of all the major designers here. So what about, oh, there's the Australian fabric. I loved it. You saw that in my previous videos. So let's take a look at, I'm just looking here. Let's go to the left column first of all. Let's look at Free Spirit Fabrics. And let's check out what they charge price. Well, it looks like it's $18.20 a meter, which is a good price. And of course, they have pre-cuts as well. Even Tula Pink is at $18.60, which is, pretty good price as well. It's only 40 cents more than regular. You expect Tula to be a little bit more expensive. The designer ones often are. But on average, it looks like their prices range from $18.20 to what did I say, $18.60 a meter, which is a fairly good price. It's just slightly towards the lower end of the price scale right now for what fabrics are going for. They do have wide back as well. Wide back $36.90, $36.50. That's on the upper side of the price range for wide backs, but not a bad selection of those either. So fabric prices seem very fair. What else do we have we can take a look at here? Well, they have notions, of course, sewing machines, batting. Let's take a look at their batting. This is something I didn't look at when I was in the store. They have the pre-cut bagged. They have, now it looks though like they do sell it by the meter, $22.50 for Pellon Nature's Touch 100% natural cotton batting. I usually get 80/20, and I'm just seeing, do they sell that? Well, they do, but in a pre-packaged, pre-cut amount. They do have bamboo, however. And they do have, so it looks like that's what they have price-wise. For 120 wide back, $23.90 a meter, within the ballpark. Not an unreasonable price given what prices are like right now. And, a fairly good selection of batting here as well. So let's take a look at, let's go back into shop. And let's see what else we have. Let's take a look at their notions. I don't often look at notions because notions are something that everybody has. Adhesive, fasteners, new notions. Let's take a look at that. Because I know they got a new 505 spray, which they very kindly gave me a free can of. It's not a spray, sorry, a glue stick. I haven't tried it yet. Yeah, so they've listed some of their new products here, new rulers. They're carrying the Quilter Select non-slip rulers, which everybody says are excellent. Stripology rulers, which I love. Yeah, and there's the temporary adhesive glue stick that they just got in. So, and everything seems to be about the standard pricing you'd expect for notions. Let's just check out something else here. I don't think we'll check out sewing machines because we know they sell Bernina. They have mask making supplies, embroidery products. Let's check this out. I saw a few things on their notions wall when I was there. So a lot of this is hand embroidery, but they do have hoops for the Bernina machines. If you have a Bernina machine, then this would be a good place to go. Now they had something here, embroidery designs. Let's just take a look at this and see what this is. Daisy Birdhouse CD, Scissor Tails, Baby Safari. Okay, so they have some of the major products that are on CD or USBs. So yeah, not a lot to choose from, but some interesting things, some very seasonal things right now. I usually buy mine from online from OESD or Embroidery Online, that kind of thing. But it's nice to know that someone is offering it online in Canadian dollars as well. Okay, let's take a look at their classes because I know they have quite a few classes, and there they are. Virtual edge-to-edge quilting with embroidery machine event, and it's online, so that's very interesting, and with your embroidery machine. Okay, now that's something I might be interested in. Just to try it out, I might consider that. Adult Learn to Sew. Looks like it's an in-store class. They do have a really great classroom as well, and you don't have to bring your own sewing machine. They provide a sewing machine for you, a Bernina machine. So, you know, you might kill two birds with one stone. If you're looking for a new machine, you're thinking of going to Bernina, then, you know, if you're in the area, take one of their classes and you'd probably get a good feel for what a Bernina machine is like. Okay, they have machine repairs, promotions. What do we have under promotions? Check back soon for upcoming. Okay, they have long arm quilting services as well, and they show you it's about 26 cents or 0.026 square inch. So basically 3 cents square inch for edge to edge, and they list everything here to give you a good idea of what they do. One thing I didn't ask them is if they rented out time on their long arm machine. I'm just looking very quickly here. I may have missed it. Doesn't look like they're advertising that here, but I'm sure if you were interested, you could contact them and they would let you know one way or the other. So they do have a contact. They show you where they're located. And as I said, the staff there are excellent. The owner is really friendly and a lot of fun. Makes you feel very, very welcome when you're in the actual store. So I imagine that will carry over to their website as well. So one thing I didn't check was to see what their shipping policies are or prices. And let's just see. They have a refund policy. Don't see anything here listing their shipping. So let's do a fake buy. Let's just get some fabric in our cart and see what this might charge us. Okay, let's just go. I'll go for batiks. And let's grab some of this. Batiks are a little bit more expensive than the other fabric, but it usually is. Okay, let's fake buy 3 meters of this. Okay. Add to cart. Okay. Proceed to checkout. There it is. Okay. I'm not sure if they ship it. Oh, here we go. Based on your zip code. Okay. All right, here you have a variety. Expedited parcel 1476, priority 3476, regular parcel 1476, and express 1563. So those would be Canada Post shipping rates. And yeah, that's about what you'd expect. I don't know if that increases if I buy more. And it did slightly. So yeah, so the more you buy, it's going to cost you a little bit more for shipping, but they do have free store pickup if you're in the area as well. So actually, that's not unreasonable either. So overall, I was impressed with the brick and mortar store. I am also impressed with their website. So if you're in that area, check out the store and check it out online as well. That's Dancing Stitches. Okay, so what's coming up besides Sewing with Stephanie and Stephen this next week? I'm having, well, I am hosting a meet and greet for the group that the paid membership group that I belong to. You've heard me talk about it. I've belonged to it since I started quilting, called the Quilters Way. This is based out of Calgary, but of course it's all online, and it is run by a lovely person who I'm very happy to say is my friend as well, Kim Jamieson Hurst, and her husband Gary run this site. Well, they are both native Ontarian people, my province, even though they live out in Alberta, in Calgary, and they've lived there for many years. But they're coming back for a visit to Ontario. There's a family event happening, and we're going to have a meet and greet. Now, the thing about this meet and greet is it's going to be very tiny. It's going to be Kim and her husband, Walter, and I, plus I think one other. And the other one, we'll see if she's able to make it or not, because she says she's coming, but she lives about 2 hours away. So that may not be a possibility. But so they're coming anyways, Kim and Gary, and we're going to sit around a big charcuterie board and drink wine and talk. But I have suggested to Kim, I just sent her an email this morning, saying that maybe while they're here, I could actually interview Kim and Gary and talk about the founding of the Quilters Way, what people can expect if they join the Quilters Way, what future plans there are for the Quilters Way, and anything else that we want to discuss. And if that other person who's a member shows up too, we'll get some perspective from her as well as a longtime member of the Quilters Way. Did I say the Quilters Way enough times for you? Yeah, the Quilters Way. You can find out more about the Quilters Way if you go to chatterboxquilts.com and look for, there's probably a button there for the Quilters Way, and it'll talk about how it works as far as membership. And I believe you can get a 7 or a 14-day free membership trial, no strings attached, to check it all out. But I'm hoping that Kim will agree to do this little interview with me, and that will be my plan right now, no promises, will probably be the episode that I will put up as the next So Chatty. Which also brings up another point. There may or may not be a So Chatty on Friday, because at the time of this meet and greet, it's taking place at the time when Walter and I usually record So Chatty. So we'll see. So Chatty there may not be one this coming Friday, or it may not get posted till late on Friday or early on Saturday if this interview thing goes through. I have to wait and see what Kim thinks about that. So yeah, that's the plan. So I've got some other projects I want to work on this week as well. I've started a new project. It's these really cute turkey placemats that you do in the hoop on the embroidery machine. I just started those yesterday, and I think it's really going to be cute. And I'm thinking if I get them done soon enough, they can be a gift for somebody, for the fall season, because they'll work for not just Thanksgiving, but for the whole of fall, and they're just kind of fun. I'll probably be showing those to you once I get them done, which I'm hoping today I get some more work done on those as well. Okay, I think that's it for me right now. So I hope to see you guys, some of you anyways, on Wednesday at Sewing with Stephanie and Stephen. And yeah, so have a great week, and we'll see everybody soon. Bye for now.